what's the crossover?
Okay. So, I'm going to talk about Windows deployment services. What it does pretty much is it allows you to remotely install Windows products over network. So it's supposed to work natively with Vista 7, any of the current server OS, 2008 server, any flavor that it should work with. Pretty much the way you get Windows deployment services is you have a server that's working. It'll start up, and you'll be into what's called the server manager. And you just you go down the ways, and there's a thing about roles. Right here, role summary, this is what's installed. To add it, you just click Add Role, go on the list, and choose it. If you have, it does have some dependencies. It does require that you have DNS functioning on the server, as well as Active Directory. And that's Active Directory domain services. So once you have those two, it'll let you install Windows deployment services. Windows deployment services, once it installs, you just go down here to the thing about it. Use a summary about it, and what the server is and what it does. And once that's installed, you just go in and you choose to add some images. Like here, I can just go through the steps real quick. With add and install image, it'll ask you to either create a new image group if you have one. If you don't have one, it'll make you make a new one. Otherwise, you can use an existing image group or a new image group. They need image groups that you can segment your types of images. So like if you had an accounting office in one city and some other office in another city, and they need different base installs of Windows on their systems. And this includes any applications or anything like that you have in Windows. This can all be built into the image. So you can provide them different image groups, then you can provide access to those for different groups of users, or different groups of administrators. So that will allow them is if you have two different locations with computers that need different stuff, you can have two different image groups, and that'll allow access differently to those image groups based within your organization. So once you add an image, pretty much all you do is you go and you select a Windows image file, which is either stored on a Windows product DVD or is made using a thing called a capture image. If you have a capture image that you can have in an installed system, I run a tool known as sysprep on it, which what sysprep does is it removes all the individual settings and stuff in it, and pretty much just makes it a clean system with applications and stuff. And once you do that, you can capture the image, you just boot to the network, and tell that you want to capture the image of the system, and go read your hard drive and write an image and then store it in the server. And with that, it works, like over engineering, we use a product called Drive Image, or we used to. It works a lot like that, other than that, it does it over the network.
How big are those images? Like, what gigs?
They're a couple gigs at most of the time.
So you need some pretty hefty server space to save.
So like here in my image group, I've got all of these images, and the size here of the image, that's actually the uncompressed size, I believe. Because when you load an image file from a disk, it's not that big. And here I've got installed out RAM here. It's 1.47 gigs. That's all it takes up locally then, storage-wise. And then like here you can see you've got all the flavors of Vista from a Vista DVD that I had in at one point. They also happens to have all the flavors of Windows 2008 Server, which yes is named a lot more. And the other thing you need is a boot image for the system to work. It's recommended that you have at least one boot image for each architecture. So that means you need one for x86, one for x64. If you don't have both architectures, then you only need whichever one you have. It allows you to have multiple boot images. And what that allows then is you can have a custom boot image that would just take you to a command prompt or some partition management utility or something like that. Maybe of the custom boot images, which I haven't figured out how to make them work quite right yet, but according to the documentation, it's not very hard to make a custom boot image. But they kind of make you jump through some hoops, and it seems that Sorry for Microsoft is a big fan of flaming hoops to make you jump through. So that's kind of where that comes from. Once this is all configured, and the other thing I'll bring up real quick is something called legacy images, and that allows you to use a legacy operating system which takes you back to Windows XP. I believe we can work with like Windows 98 if you really wanted to.
Wow.
Yeah, really want to 98.
And the last thing I'll bring up is this does support multicast, which you can configure multicast. Just give it a right click until it creates it. Just give it a quick name of some areas. The idea here then is with this, you'll select the image group and the image. I've got that, I don't know which one it is, but it's fine. And here you can either configure it to automatically start when you have a set number of clients connected, or actually, no, it's not automatic. Use schedule. Then you can either start when you have a set number of clients connected, or you can start at a set time. So if you have an environment with multiple systems that you want to image, you want to do them all at once, you just have to go and turn them all on. And if you don't specify the number, you have a number higher than what you have set, you can manually start the multicast transmission. So you can just set the number to a bunch, then you turn all your computers on and tell it to go, and it'll start multicasting the image to everything that's up at the time. Actually, you just set the schedule and don't check the box, and you can manually start it. Or you can set a set time on anything else. Let's read that, see if we finish this time. So then from here, I'm going to show you how it's how it works. I'll start with the virtual machine here. You got the HTTP, you have to hit F12 for the network boot. And from here it asks you to choose which boot image you want to use. I just happen to have two x86 boot images in, so it doesn't matter which one, they both don't work. But yeah, the idea here would be then you hit enter, come up with load some files. I would load the boot.sdi, and then continue loading the boot.wim image. It'll probably get stopped and crash here in a minute. So the idea normally would be that we load the boot.wim image, which gets you into Windows PE, which is the Windows install environment.
That's nice to see.
Just crash.
No, not nice at all.
I had this work exactly once. I don't know what I did different that one time, so apparently there is some further refinement that I need to take on to actually prove that it does work. There's lots of people online that claim it works great. It's just in the environment I have, not so much. It might work better with an actual Windows 7 DVD, which I don't have any right now, so that could be. It could be too that the version I should be using is Windows 2008 Server R2, which may work better then. May
yes.
actually work.
Yeah.
Yes. Nothing but problems with 2008.
Okay, I'm probably going to 2008 R2 as my next move, and then maybe I can prove that this works in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions about what this is supposed to do?
But Windows.
Yeah. Or it's also like Ghost,
Or Ghost, yeah, or
but with
Ghost.
multicast. Or does Ghost do multicast?
Yeah, it does multi and unicasts.
Okay.
And it also does directed broadcast as well.
Okay, so it's all like Ghost, or that's a Windows product, which means that in theory you wouldn't need to buy anything. You just go to your server that you already have and add the
But
functionality.
it's just the configuration.
It's just configured, yeah. As opposed to having to go out and buy some product and configure it.
Now, how do you install apps with this? Or how does this work with applications?
With applications, what you would do is you would install. Basically the easiest way to do it would be to go to one piece of hardware in your network that is what you want, and you would install Windows, do a clean install. Install updates if you want them, install any applications you want, install anything else, and then you would use the sysprep tool on it to reseal the system, which what it does is it removes the product key and the activation and all that good stuff from it. So then you could use either a KMS server or you could just activate over the internet if you have a small group of systems.
So in that respect, it's very much the same setup procedure as Ghost for the client.
Yeah, you do the same thing for the client as you would with Ghost or anything else. You do the sysprep and you capture an image.
All right.
Just if you're capturing an image, would use it, you would capture the image. You do a network boot, you go into the capture utility and capture an image, which I might be able to do. Let's see, what the thing is. I'm going to add a capture image. No, the other one. Okay, so you create a capture boot image. And we'll write that one to the anyway. Yes. And never mind, it won't work anyway. That'd be the reason you create a capture boot image and specify where you want to store the image on the server. Then you just go and boot the computer up that you have your seed image on. Basically, it comes off, you might have to hit F12 a couple times and answer a prompt or two, and that's it. And this also does integrate attended answer script files, or unattended rather. So you can do an unattended install, provide keys and all that stuff, and do activation automatically. So the idea in theory would be that you could, sit down with your server, send a magic packet out to your entire network and start everything up. And let them all basically move remotely. And you could have everything up and installed and running with no effort whatsoever.
You wouldn't even have to leave your desk for that.
You wouldn't even have to leave your desk.
The only
You
requirement
start on
is
your way out at night and come back in the morning and everything would be good to go.
the only real requirement there is that everything be on the same broadcast domain. Then.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the only thing you need is, a common broadcast domain. You could start up and leave Monday night and have freshly installed systems Tuesday morning.
Nice.
In theory.
In theory.
That is, unless you get hung up on a flaming hoop.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Anybody questions? No?
Further questions? Okay. Good. Then I turn off the server.
Round of applause for Chris.
Yay.
And I